Okay, here we go again. We're starting off another week of combating consensus. Same guy, same couch, same beard I've been working on for a few weeks here, and same theme. We're going to take some teams where the public opinion is really strongly on one team over another in a straight pick, and I think there's been a mistake made. We were 2-1 in the first week of this column. Last week ran into a bit of a snag going 1-2. We had the Chiefs a pick I can't really defend at home against the Chargers. Chargers took it to them, and the Chiefs didn't compete despite coming off a strong performance against New Orleans. So it'll be the last time I think I'm taking KC in a game like that for a while anyway. We did do fairly well with, or at least it looked like we did well with the Buccaneers over the Redskins. The Bucs had control of most of that game and took the lead late. Looked like they were going to put it away, but Robert Griffin led a pretty spectacular drive to put the team in field goal position, and Billy kind of nailed the kick despite missing, I think, 3 field goals prior to that. So Washington comes away with the road win there. We missed that game, but we did get the Eagles at the Link against the Giants. We had 3 home teams last week, and at least they pulled it out. Again, another last minute kick there that almost went the other way, but we did get the Eagles, and I feel pretty good about picking that game. Would have liked to have had the other 2 as well, but we'll see what we can do this week. Now this week I found it kind of tricky to come up with 3 games that were wrong in the public opinion, if you will. Part of that is because it's kind of hard to pick up on trends this week. We're seeing a lot of inter-conference games rather than intra-conference games, so we're seeing a lot of AFC going out and taking on NFC teams where you aren't seeing a lot of trending data. They haven't probably matched up in the last couple of years. It's really hard to get a good feel on some of those games, and what it looks like to me is that the favorites, generally speaking, are warranted, but did find a couple of games to go with. Now, for what it's worth, one of them's already happened. You can ask the guys that I took a leg up on in the pool, though. We went with St. Louis on Thursday night. Won't go into a lot of detail on why, because again, the game is already in the past, but liked the look of them at home against a divisional foe. Liked the ability, I think, of Jeff Fisher's defense, and particularly his corners, who've produced a lot of turnovers this season, to hold Kevin Kolb in check. Now, they didn't do it really through turnovers last week, but they did do it by getting after the quarterback and, again, keeping him and the rest of that Arizona offense really well in check. So we've got 1 in the books moving into the weekend's games, and have 2 games here that I'd like to discuss. The first of those, again, I've decided to back the Eagles. We have Pittsburgh with about 72% of public selection on them. Perhaps rightfully so. The Steelers come into this game well rested. They're getting healthier. They're 4-0 in the week after the bye, coming during Mike Tomlin's tenure. But I just don't like them in this game. They've got a great record again at Heinz Field. There's lots of reasons to be behind them. And of course, getting James Harrison, Troy Polamalu, and also Rashard Mendenhall back this week is going to be a big boost for them. If for no other reason than it forces opponents to think about them, to focus on those guys rather than some of the other guys on defense. So we won't see any more double and triple teams of LaMarr Woodley with James Harrison back in the lineup, and we won't see teams probably taking as many shots over the middle of the field with Polamalu patrolling the area. And I think that's their biggest impact, not so much the plays that they will make on the field, but the load that they're able to take off some of the other defenders in Pittsburgh. Still, even at full strength, this defense is aging. Warren Sapp, in a rare moment of clarity last year, pointed it out. He said that this Steelers defense is old and they're slow. Now, he took a lot of heat for that, and Pittsburgh did still manage to hold it together and secure a playoff spot last season, but they haven't gotten any younger on that side of the football. They have been holding opponents reasonably well in most facets, but they're getting gashed on the ground. We saw that 2 weeks ago in the last game they played when Darren McFadden was able to break off a couple of big runs for the Raiders and really helped to keep Oakland in that game. I liked what I saw there, and I like the idea that LeSean McCoy is going to be able to do the same. Now, he took control last week when the Eagles were able to beat the Giants in the second half, ran the ball really effectively, created some holes for himself, and also the offensive line did a good job of opening things up for him. We can never expect Andy Reid to get fully behind the power run game. I don't see any miracle change this week, but I do think that they'll be smart enough to feed the ball to McCoy at least a bit, take some of the pressure off Michael Vick and the receivers, and again, he knows enough to use McCoy effectively that hopefully he'll be able to move the ball. I think he's in for a solid game against the Steelers, who have been beaten on the ground. They're giving up over 4.3 yards per carry, which is not a great number against the run, and I think that, again, a premier back like McCoy is going to be able to exploit that. And I think what that does as well is it leads to opportunities for the Philly defense. If McCoy's running effectively, I really think that the biggest swing factor is going to be that defense keeping them rested and off the field by moving the change, by staying in control of the ball, by not coughing it up. They're coming off a strong performance against Eli Manning. He's somebody, and the Giants are a team that have posted really strong numbers against other opponents this season. They gave up, they were posting, 33 or so points per game coming into that contest last week, and then the Eagles shut them down, giving up just 17 points. They did it by playing strong defense, getting to the quarterback, putting pressure there, all of which I think they'll be able to repeat this week against the Steelers with their depleted offensive line. But also they did it by protecting the ball. It's only 1 week, so it's hard to say that Vic and the rest of the offense have really figured it out, but I do like them to play smarter football, to play ball control, to take advantage, like we saw last week, of the pass rush and try to get outside a little bit and keep the chains moving. And I think that as long as the offense is moving the ball productively, scoring a few points when they can, but not turning it over, giving the offense of Pittsburgh a short field, I think the Eagles defense will be able to do enough to keep Ben Roethlisberger and the rest of the Steelers in check, and that's why I like Philly to win this game on the road. The next game that we're taking is another road game. Not something I like doing when I'm picking underdogs, but it's where opportunity led us this week. And we're looking at Seattle going on the road against Carolina. Not only do I not like taking road teams, but I'm given a little pause here by the fact that the Seahawks are having to travel over 4,000 miles to play in this game. They're not a great road team as it is, and certainly with that long road trip to go to the East Coast, I don't love their outlook against the Panthers, but it's a 4 o'clock time slot game, so that allays my concerns a little bit, and I just like what Seattle's doing well enough relative to at least what Carolina's doing so far to believe in them, again in this game. Cam Newton and the gang looked good last week, certainly against Atlanta, even though that game fell a little short. It fell short because the defense let them down on the last drive and throughout the game, and frankly that's what I anticipate happening this week against Seattle as well. I really think that's a distinct possibility. I know we've talked a lot about Russell Wilson and his struggles, rightfully so, but he gets a bit of a break this week when he comes into Carolina. He's facing a defense that already has had trouble stopping opponents and now is undermanned in terms of the linebacking core, and as well, they're down a quarterback this week, and they're going to be forcing the undersized Captain Munnerlyn in to a number 2 coverage role, against one of Seattle's big physical receivers, and I think that he's in for a long week, and I think that their pass defense is in general in for a long week. I think at least they'll be able to move the ball productively on third down by taking a look at those matchups, finding the right guy to put the ball to, and trusting Russell Wilson to at least get the ball out there on, say, third and short against a couple of cornerbacks who may or may not be true NFL starters. Most importantly, though, I like them to be in those third and short and even better situations because of Marshawn Lynch. He's having a great year again rushing the football, and he faces a Carolina defense that's just getting abused on the ground. They're giving up 4.9 yards per carry and 4 rushing touchdowns through 4 games this season, and they haven't faced anybody of Lynch's caliber yet. I think they've seen Doug Martin in Tampa, who posted 95 yards on them. Andre Brown on the Thursday night game just took it to them. And, he's had a good couple of weeks, but he's not an NFL starter. We saw Pierre Thomas put in 9 carries and over 100 yards against them. And then last week they made Michael Turner look like he was 25 again, despite the fact that other NFL defenses have been holding him in check this season. So I just don't like Carolina's run defense. I don't like their defense in general. You see Marshawn Lynch again putting Russell Wilson in favorable situations on offense. And because of that, I like Seattle to score at least enough points to keep themselves in control of this football game. The Panthers are going to be able to move the ball because they do that on offense. They've got a strong run game. They do have Cam Newton again, who looked pretty good last week, but they're missing that special element that's going to take a Seattle defense that's performed really well all season and turn them into something that they're not. I think they can easily hold Carolina under 20 points this week, and because of that, I think the offense will do just enough to get the job done, and I think Seattle goes into Carolina despite the road trip and gets it done on the strength of a strong performance from running back Marshawn Lynch and the team's defense. So those are the picks. We're taking the Rams in kind of a cheap way because they're in the books already, but we'll take the Rams, we'll take the Eagles, and we'll take the Seattle Seahawks. That's where I see it falling this week, and we'll see on Monday how it all went. Thanks for checking in.